Hello and welcome to the City Newsroom on CDTV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. We start with an address to the nation by the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo on COVID-19 and the IMF program.
That COVID was no longer a public health emergency of global concern. It had taken 3 years, 5 months, and 20 days of unbelievable tumult, unrelenting pain and suffering, and emotional turbulence of a world turned upside down. But we have at last heard the words for which we had all been praying. The scientists and health experts tell us that we no longer have a public health emergency of international concern. They tell us also that there's evidence of reducing risks to human health from COVID-19 infections. This has led to the decreasing trend of COVID-19 related deaths, hospitalizations, and intensive care admissions. The world has also achieved the long hoped for immunity, and with improved clinical management, the experts say it is time to transition to long-term management of the COVID-19 pandemic. In other words, we can now breathe that collective sigh of relief. For even though we may still have to deal with sporadic, isolated outbreaks, the crisis itself has technically ended. The pandemic trend in Ghana is similar to the general global trend as announced by WHO. As of 15th May 2023, there have been 1,462 deaths attributable to COVID-19 in Ghana, with the last death being recorded on 8th January 2023. These are not mere figures or inconvenient statistics. They are dearly loved parents, sons and daughters, relations, friends and colleagues, whom we shall continue to miss dearly. May their souls rest in perfect peace. I am glad to report that currently we do not have any critical or severe cases. In general, since the first case was confirmed in our country on 12 March 2020, there have been 171,738 positive cases from 2,538,198 tests. You will recall that we started the COVID vaccination campaign in March 2021, and as at 25th May 2023, 25,170,382 vaccine doses have been administered. There are 10,566,420 fully vaccinated people. That is 52.7% out of the 20 million target we had set, with 4,599,883 persons having received booster doses. In the light of these facts, the COVID-19 task force, which I chair, met on 17th May and took some far-reaching decisions on the measures we have put in place for the management of the pandemic, which were announced by the Ghana Health Service on 19th May. The most important of these decisions was that the COVID-19 pandemic was over in Ghana. Thus, all the outstanding COVID-induced restrictions at our airports and all entry points have been lifted, and we are back to the pre-COVID situation as far as health entry requirements are concerned. It will be recalled that 3 years ago, we started with drastic measures and restrictions. The international airport was shut for months. and our land borders were closed to human traffic for almost 3 years. The hospitality industry was devastated. Hotels and restaurants and other social gathering places were shut down. Schools and universities and training institutions were shut down. Indeed, our world was turned upside down. That culturally defining Ghanaian symbol, the handshake, was prohibited and frowned upon, and we were advised not to hug our children and our loved ones. Churches, mosques, and other places of worship were closed for months, and our beaches remained emptied of human activity. Fellow Ghanaians, even our funerals, that sacred Ghanaian ritual, were stopped, and then attempts were made to change the tone and character of the funeral with the imposition of restrictions on how many can attend or be fed at the ceremony. Fellow Ghanaians, throughout these trying times, I kept urging all of you to believe that this too shall pass. Dare I say that this too has passed. The emergency is over, and we can safely lift many of the oppressive restrictions we've had to endure. We can shake hands, we can hug, we can visit, and we no longer have to wear masks. But it is strongly recommended that we keep some of the measures imposed during the crisis and integrate them into our everyday lives, because they have served us well and will continue to serve us well. I urge you all to continue with the regular hand washing and other personal hygiene measures so they become entrenched national habits. There has been a dramatic decrease in diarrhea diseases, and we have not had any cholera outbreaks these past 3 years. These developments are attributable mostly to the hand washing and improved hygiene regimen in our communities. It does not hurt to wear a mask if you have a cold, for example. It might protect those around you. If you are uncomfortable in a crowded and enclosed space, go out into the open and continue the new ways we have devised for outside entertainment. I hope there will be no argument that we should continue and institutionalize the periodic cleansing, disinfection, and fumigation of markets. Never again should our markets be breeding grounds for rodents. There are other ways in which this nightmare has brought some good dividends that must be acknowledged. It has led to the strengthening of our disease surveillance system, and this has been manifested in recent months by our ability to deal in a very rapid and aggressive way with outbreaks of frightening diseases like Marburg, Lassa fever, monkeypox, before they could turn into serious public health catastrophes. The pandemic also exposed some of the painful deficiencies we have and forced us to take some brave and necessary decisions, like the expansion of our network of health facilities under Agenda 111. I doubt very much that but for the pandemic, the network of health laboratories with capacity to do PCR testing in our country would have expanded exponentially from the initial 2 to 67 laboratories nationwide. And fellow Ghanaians, we have begun the process of manufacturing our own vaccines with the establishment of the National Vaccine Institute. The painful lesson from the pandemic about the access to vaccines certainly concentrated our minds. And we must be proud that we did not bow our heads in defeat, but used the crisis to achieve such a positive outcome. We now have in place a vaccine institute and 2 vaccine manufacturing plants. I commissioned that of Atlantic Life Sciences Limited last year, and a few weeks ago, I performed the salt-cutting ceremony of that of DEK Vaccines Limited. There's no question but that Ghana came out of this global catastrophe much better than many other countries, if we consider the rate of infection, hospitalization, and deaths. We must recognize that this happened because we worked at it in a focused and competent manner. We refused to be swayed by the populist noises, conspiracy theory peddlers, false and uninformed analysts, but rather we relied firmly on the science and data-driven information for guidance. Contrary to what some foreign experts claimed, we do have a decentralized, resilient public health system which reaches every corner of our country with highly competent and dedicated health workers. A public health system of which we can be justly proud. When it was most needed, the health sector and religious and traditional leaders demonstrated admirable leadership. The private sector rose to the occasion and displayed innovation and dynamism. We managed a strong community engagement and communication strategy, which carried the entire population along and was admired and praised by Ghanaians and the outside world. Among ministries, departments, and agencies, there was strong and palpable multi-sector collaboration. It also certainly helped that we found the resources from the government, partners, individuals, corporate entities, and the public to support health workers and procurement of required materials. Fighting COVID has been a very expensive undertaking, characterized as it was by lockdowns, closed borders, minimal economic activity, and the consequential steep decline in revenues. The testing for the millions who went to public laboratories, the quarantine of arrivals from outside the country, hospital admissions, treatments and feeding for all patients were publicly funded and cost vast sums of money. The vaccination program was expensive, very expensive. Even though we received some donated vaccines, we purchased a lot with our own resources. And the multiple countrywide vaccination campaigns cost a lot of money. The fumigation, cleansing, and disinfection of markets, schools, offices, and other public spaces also cost a lot of money. Free water was provided, and the cost of electricity subsidized. 54,000 additional health workers were hired, and all health workers obtained a tax rebate. Fellow Ghanaians, keeping us all informed about this most unpredictable virus was expensive. A lot of money was spent on public education, public information, risk communication, public and community engagements, and keeping us all abreast with the relevant information. We must thank the Ministry of Information and its agencies and the National Commission for Civic Education for their exceptional work. It took courage, and I'm particularly happy that we reopened schools, colleges, and universities at the time we did, in spite of the fears of some parents and the condemnation of our critics. In some countries, millions of girls and boys did not return when schools eventually reopened after they had been kept shut for over a year. The logistics for keeping the schools open were huge and costly. But I am delighted that no Ghanaian child was left behind. Let me make it clear that COVID expenditures, essentially unplanned, have been subject at my instigation to audit by the Auditor General and are going through parliamentary processes. We all deserve to be reassured that the crisis was not used as a cover for corrupt practices. The COVID health recovery levy that was introduced to help fill some of the expenditure holes might not be the most popular tax, but I entreat all of you to bear with us. The COVID Trust Fund has performed an invaluable service, and with these developments has reached the end of its mandate. I thank the trustees as well as all donors and contributors to the fund. It is likely, God willing, that this will be the last in the series of fellow Ghanaian speeches on COVID. And as your president, I have a truly long list of people and institutions I must take this opportunity to thank. I thank firstly all of you, my compatriots, my fellow Ghanaians, for your patience, understanding, and cooperation. Health workers and the scientific community. I thank the leaders of the faith-based groups, the Christian Council, the Catholic Bishops' Conference, the Ghana Charismatic and Pentecostal Council, the Chief Imam and the Muslim leaders for their strong involvement, powerful prayers and support, their help, especially in feeding the vulnerable during the lockdown periods, and through the Church of Pentecost in providing accommodation for an isolation and treatment center. I thank the Council of State and our traditional leaders, the national and regional houses of chiefs, for their support and help in community sensitization. I thank the political and business leaders, development partnerships, NGOs and civil society, the sports, hospitality, entertainment, creative and tourism industries, our security services, police, military, immigration, teachers, pupils, students, parents, and guidance. I thank the journalists and the entire media. A few weeks ago, I gave national honors to most of the frontline workers who had been in the trenches, as it were, in the COVID battle. A total of 20,110 people were given national honors. They were well-deserved. But I know that some might have been left out, not out of any malice. We continue to recognize those who come to our attention. I must also make special mention of the environmental health personnel of the Ministry of Local Government. They played a key role in the burials of COVID-related deaths. The private funeral homes deserve honorable mention. They set the pace for how funerals should be conducted within the COVID protocol restrictions and with cultural sensitivity. In paying tribute to the health workers, I should address our psychologists and psychiatrists and express my gratitude for their work. COVID exacted an extreme emotional turbulence on the population, and no one can predict how long the effects on our mental health will last, and their work continues even after the end of the emergency. I believe it would be appropriate to make also a special mention of the Ministry of Health and its implementing and regulatory agencies, the Christian Health Association of Ghana, the military and police health services, quasi-government private healthcare providers, and the Food and Drugs Authority, FDA, which has established itself as a world-class institution able to hold its own on the international scene. On behalf of the people of Ghana, I express eternal gratitude to the police, the immigration, and the military, and the 2 IGPs, 2 CDSs, and Controller General that have served during the period. I pay homage to the pharmaceutical and textile industries and to the many corporate bodies that made generous donations and rallied to the call for enhanced domestic production of medical supplies. The Ghana Airport Company must be mentioned for the hard work of its staff. the Ghana Education Service and the Director General that saw us through the school closures and reopenings, thank you. And thank you to its sister body, the Ghana Health Service and its dynamic Director General, both of them have gave such impressive accounts of themselves during this crisis. It would be greatly remiss of me not to place on record my appreciation to the National Ambulance Service and its workers. They worked well, and we are proud of them. I acknowledge the fact that digital technologies and drones help very much in getting vaccines and medications to hard-to-reach areas. And I'm glad they have become an integral part of our health delivery system. If we were still looking for any proof, we found that the high use of mobile phones and the digitalization agenda helped in the surveillance process, particularly with contact tracing and patient follow-up. I'm indebted to the ministers of state, officials of the presidency led by the chief of staff, the parliament and the judiciary, and all the members of the brilliant COVID-19 task force. I must make special mention of the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, who was my reliable source of support in the darkest and most trying moments. And to the many who advised me publicly and privately, supported and prayed for me, I say thank you. The emergency is over. Unfortunately, the consequences are very much still with us, especially in terms of the economic devastation it has left in its trail. It will be recalled that I said right at the onset of the pandemic that we would do whatever it took to protect the lives of the Ghanaian people. In the now often quoted statement, I said, and I quote, "We know what to do to bring the economy back to life, but what we do not know is how to bring people back to life," unquote. The clear implication is that we would protect lives even if it was at the risk of harming the economy. I knew that the pandemic and the measures we were taking to keep us alive would have a devastating effect on the economy. But I believe I had the support of the Ghanaian people to concentrate on protecting lives at any cost. But I do not think anyone, anywhere, imagined the effect would be so widespread, so destructive, and so deep. I owe to you, my compatriots, and to myself, to go to any length to bring the economy to the rude health it was in before the onset of the pandemic. When things came to the state, where I concluded we had to go to the International Monetary Fund to access a facility for budgetary support, I gave a directive to the Minister of Finance to start the process. It was a painful decision for me to take, because going to the IMF was not part of the economic transformation agenda I had been pursuing, especially as my government had gone the extra mile to bring to a successful end the IMF program we inherited from the previous government. But who would have imagined that President Akufo-Addo would order the closure of airports, offices, factories, or schools? We were in extraordinary times, and we took extraordinary measures. And when faced with the realities of the economic crisis last year, I accepted the challenge that the economy required a similar attitude, including the sacrifices many of us have made in recent times. Luckily, the International Monetary Fund has been most supportive, and we have ended up with having our program approved in record time, culminating in the formal approval by the IMF board on 17th May. As I'm sure we have all heard by now, The details of the program have been explained by officials of the fund and by our Minister for Finance and the Governor of the Bank of Ghana. The first tranche of $600 million United States dollars has been credited to our national account out of the $3 billion United States dollars that we have negotiated to receive within a period of 36 months. Fellow Ghanaians, access to the IMF facility will not spell the immediate end of the difficulties we are in presently. But the fact that we've been able to negotiate such a deal sends a positive message to our trading partners, creditors, and investors. A positive message that will be underpinned by the discipline, hard work, and enterprise with which we execute the program. It should lead to the restoration of confidence and the reopening of avenues that have been closed to us this past year and a half. It should also lead to the resumption of many of the infrastructural projects that have stalled. Fellow Ghanaians, we got ourselves out of a pandemic in which there were no precedents on which to rely, and where even the experts admitted they had no clear-cut solutions. We did it by being resolute, being focused, and working very hard, and by accepting that we had to stick together. With a similar frame of mind and attitude, we shall overcome the economic difficulties as well, sooner rather than later. I have no doubt at all in my mind that we are on the right path, and we will soon start to see significant improvements in the economy and in the living standards of Ghanaians. Emiadum, cover yarea no to share yan so no. Na di ohaw bebre bre yan no. Emiadaroma etumi tu na se. Mesra mo moma ye nyina enda nyame ase. Yen koso enhwe yan ho so yi. Anyeme numodromo na COVID hela ni ba wono. Ni ka hawo ba Numa ejowo wonya wo faneshi wo ha ofe woda nyumoshi ni wokwe wo hino ojugba. We are a God-fearing and a God-loving nation. And that is why throughout my presidency I have consistently stressed that the battle is the Lord's. Thus 3 years ago, when the pandemic first hit us, I asked for a national day of prayer and fasting for God's help to be observed on 25th March 2020. Now that the Lord has heard our prayers and seen us through this COVID trial, I would respectfully ask that next Friday, i.e. the 2nd of June, all Muslims should say a special prayer of gratitude for our nation's health. And that next Saturday and Sunday, i.e. the 3rd and 4th of June, all Christians should do the same. Fellow Ghanaians, we shall overcome our present economic difficulties. The battle is indeed the Lord's. Good night, and may God bless us all in our homeland, Ghana, and make her great and strong. I thank you.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Talking Point, and so that was President.
Would be the last address on COVID-19 to Ghanaians, his popular fellow Ghanaians address, which he talked about the issues having to do with COVID-19 and how his government managed it, plus the IMF program and how he believes that we're going to get out of the economic challenges that we currently are in. This is City Newsroom on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amado. We are broadcasting from Tesano in Accra. When we come back, Kumasi Technical Institute to install CCTV cameras on campus in a bid to improve security following misconduct among students. We'll be back with that and more. Please stay with us.
The neighborhood I'm having my twins.
The very reason why I took it for us. See, the price is very good and it's spacious to contain all of us.
Alphabet City. Now I'm a landlord. I don't pay rent. And my Airbnb business is booming.
To me, bank and I'm not saying Alphabet City. The pension pay me 20%. The payment plan, I want to share my just say very smooth.
This is a healthy place to raise our families and creating peace. Come on, be my neighbor.
Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
Alphabet City is a classy and peaceful gated community in Sakumono. We have 24/7 top-notch security and high-quality access roads. We have 3 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, 3 bedrooms and 3 washrooms with boys' quarters. We have 3 bedrooms and 4 washrooms. We have 2 bedrooms and 2 washrooms, all with beautiful kitchens and kitchenettes. Call Alphabet City on 0240-111119 or 050-44-99999. Alphabet City, the ABC of Home Sweet Home.
You're welcome back. This is a City Newsroom on City TV. Now, parents are proposing strengthening security, including the installation of closed-circuit television, which is CCTV cameras, at the Kumasi Technical Institute to check what they say is the growing misconduct among some students. The call comes after authorities of the school on Friday sent over 500 students home for some behaviors that breach the school's rules. City News' Ashanti Regional Correspondent Hafiz Tijani has more.
A meeting on Sunday brought together parents of students of the Kumasi Technical Institute, and the behavior of some students in the school was high on the agenda. School authorities used the opportunity to brief parents on why over 500 students were asked to go home, awaiting a recall. Parents, before the meeting, were briefed and shown some facilities in the school which were said to have been damaged by a section of the students during a recent rampage. Principal of the Kumasi Technical Institute, Gabriel Kingsford Osei, says parents are backing the management's decision to instill discipline in the students.
The vice chairperson of the PTA stood on behalf of all parents to apologize for indicates that, they've seen that it's a genuine cause because discipline is the hallmark. We cannot train them without discipline. And for that matter, we've all accepted their plea, and then we are now looking at how best we can recall these students and then taking the next action to see to the damages that have been caused by these students.
He indicated that authorities will not relent in their efforts to enforce laws regulating the institution.
The school has its code of conduct. All the discipline measures have been spelled out. It has been given to the students. Each student is having a copy. So what we will do is that we have to see to it that all those measures that have been taken into consideration in their handout, we will ensure that we go according to that. Looking at their freedom that they are talking of, yeah, we are human beings sometimes, but we cannot leave everybody to do whatever he or she likes. So for that, we will not accept that. But for what has happened, there are genuine concerns that we have to address going forward. But we've seen that there are so many flaws in some of the things that we do as an institution. So we are going to look at that and then move on.
The Parent-Teacher Association chairman, Nana Yeboah Mensah, bemoaned the inadequate security measures at the school and says measures must be put in place to check students' behavior.
We cannot identify everybody, but those who have been sent home are supposed to bear the cost. That is what I'm suggesting. Even though some of them might have not taken part, but because we asked you to come, the school was using that method to get some of these, to get some of the students. And those who fell into that trap, see, are supposed to bear the cost of the whole issue. I'm suggesting that we don't have enough security in the school here. Look at this large school. We have only the government has employed only 4 security men, and then the PTA have also employed 2. Because we only depend on our dues, so we have managed to employ 2 in addition. So 6 security. We try to cite CCTV cameras. I think that will also help us, so that at the end of the day, when you are caught, probably scaling the wall, then we may know that yes, this gentleman did it, and the person bears the cost of the damaged items.
The authorities are yet to decide when the over 500 students will be recalled to school.
Authorities at the Kumasi Technical Institute say they will strengthen measures aimed at ensuring discipline among students. Hafiz Tijani, City News, Kumasi, Ashanti Region.
Let's remain with the education sector, and pupils at the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind in Hosea. Their condition is making access to education a challenge for them. The pupils say the school, which is under the Evangelical Presbyterian Schools, needs more special educators to help in their education. They're calling on authorities to give priority to inclusive schools. Also, a remarkable progress has been made in mainstream schools. There's more in this report by City News' Desmond Salasiago.
Established in 2018 to support and equip the visually impaired students to acquire requisite and compensatory skills that will enable them to participate through the mainstream school system, the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind has seen several students enrolled and graduated into the mainstream academic settings. Currently, the center has 25 visually impaired pupils who are undergoing several skill developments in order to join their colleagues at the EP Basic School in Hopoji. In Ghana, children who are visually impaired or persons living with disability are often denied the right to education, as some schools do not accept these children. But speaking during the 5th anniversary of the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind, head prefect of the school, Mary Dare, says their story is changing. They still face some challenges at the center.
We are appealing to our education directorate to consider posting another special educator to augment the efforts of the current personnel at the JHS level.
Board chair of the New Horizon Foundation of the Blind, Reverend Nyeme Adiepena of the EP Church Ghana, noted that parents of the pupils, especially mothers, are equally receiving some training from the center, as they have also been neglected and stigmatized by their husbands and families.
Since the establishment of this center, these mothers have also seen hope for their future. When called for PTA meetings, they were surprised that society recognized them. Already being psychologically cut off from appreciating and relating closely to the physical beauty and happening of life all around us, we have further ostracized them to their faith by limiting the ease and frequency by which they could communicate and express emotion and challenges to their loved ones.
In an interview, the director of the school bemoaned the center's lack of visually impaired friendly textbooks to aid in the academic work of the pupils. He, however, noted that the center is collaborating with the University of Health and Allied Sciences to provide technological tools for the use by the pupils to bridge the gap between the mainstream academics and the center.
Main challenges is lack of technical people who know how to use accessible computing and the use of braille embossment to ensure the provision of learning materials for these children. As I speak, most textbooks that have been produced in Ghana in the area of learning is not accessible to those with sight limitations. So we want to appeal to publishers, to the government, those who provide these materials, to ensure that we have alternative modes, alternative means, so that our colleagues with condition, because they're also citizens, they are not second-class citizens, we are also first-class citizens. So whatever is good for the sighted, in quote, is also good for those of us with this challenge. Particularly, in a digital way, we want to ensure that our young brothers and sisters are carried on board. And in this connection, we are collaborating with the UHAS, or the University of Allied Sciences, to provide a facility which will ensure that equipment, tools, and devices that are available, our children can have access to. They will go through training to have digital literacy and access.
Pupils of the New Horizon Foundation for the Blind here in Ho wants the government and other stakeholders to come to their aid and make education more easier and accessible for them. Reporting for City News, I'm Desmond Selasiago.
And I am Umaru Sanda Amado. You are still watching City Newsroom on City TV. Still ahead. City TV gets results. Inmates at the Cocoa Witches camp get boreholes after City News reports on their age-old struggles to access water. We have that and more coming up. Please stay with us.
Anyone can become a house owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yugo Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yugoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. Yugo Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
You're welcome back. This is City Newsroom on City TV. Let's move to some other stories. And following several reports by City News on the challenges of alleged witches in Kukuo in the Nanumba South district of the northern region to access water, a non-governmental organization has come to the aid of the community. The NGO laid pipes down the mountain all the way to the river to solve the problem old women usually go through on a daily basis, descending and climbing the mountain to get water. Our northern regional correspondent Mohammed M. Alabira was at the Kukuo community when the NGO went to commission the water project and has this report.
It was an exciting moment at Kukuo, the alleged witches camp in the Nanumba South district in the northern region, during the commissioning of the water project. Until now, women in Kukuo, mostly the elderly, have to descend a mountain and walk long distances before accessing potable water for domestic use. City News on a number of occasions, almost every year, had reported on the challenges women in this community face. Following the report, a non-governmental organization, Savannah Wash, has come to the aid of the community by laying pipes all the way to the river to connect the community. Brownwood, a leader of the group, speaking to the media, says they were touched by the plight of the women in the community, traveling over 5 kilometers down the mountain to fetch water, hence the intervention.
In Ghana, the people that have received tanks, boreholes, are taking care of them. They much appreciate it. And yet to be seen here, we haven't seen water come out of the tank yet here today. But I'm sure we will. It's full, and the reception that we received here, the hospitality we received is just awesome. We're very elated, and I can tell the people here are much excited by the getting clean water here in the village.
The project manager for Savannah Wash, Mr. Johnson Mensah, says the intervention is to elevate the plight of the women of Kukuo.
From the day the contractor moved to site, I've been here with them. So we did a test pump and finally completion. It's been an exciting journey, and then the welcome today shows that the people are excited. And it's just not about this place. As earlier stated, we're also thinking about how to extend the water to the other parts of town. There are empty tanks in town, which we think if you are allowed, you can use them so that the entire village will benefit from instead of walking out to this side. So it's another consideration we can take up.
He advised the community to form a panel to manage the project. The contractor of the project recounts the challenges they went through and has admonished the community to take proper care of the facility.
The community is about 6 kilometers from the river, and several efforts to get the community good drinking water has been futile. So the decision was taken by management to rather extend the river to the community instead of wasting resources. Sponsors, especially Mr. Brian and his team, we are grateful to them. So how about 6 kilometers, 36 with cables, very expensive and very challenging. There is escarpment which is about 150 height against sea levels, very high, very difficult to descend and very difficult to climb. That is the aspect I'll never forget.
The district chief executive for Nanumba South, Zakaria Yusuf, expressed his gratitude to the organization for the support. He also praised City News for continuously reporting on the challenges that has resulted in the provision of the water for the community.
Coming to witness the mission and handing over the water project undertaken by Savannah NGO. Yes, that has come to aid the people of Kukuo to supply them with water from the river. I think it has not come in a silver platter. A lot of efforts have gone into it. With several efforts, we have sunk a lot of boreholes in Kukuo that all end. When the NGO steps in, I think we have to.
The assemblyman for Kuko community, Issa Aziz, could not hide his joy and was full of thanks to the NGO for the project. He outlined the project is going to benefit the community.
We take all our possible best to make this project to be an everlasting one. Because when you see the beginning of this thing, the time that we are, in fact, we have nothing to say that we thank Almighty God for this blessed gift. Because this project is a big project. It's not an easy task or an easy job. So we make all possible means to keep this working.
He also thanked City News for continuously reporting on the plight of the community, saying it has resulted in the intervention. Nurses at the Kuko Chiefs compound expressed delight that the community now has water. The officer in charge at the Kuko Chiefs compound tells City News some of the challenges they usually go through because of the lack of water. He prayed the water could be extended to the facility.
The water crisis in Kuku here is here because nursing, we can't do without water. That is why we use when we deliver, we use to sterilize our instruments, we need to distribute to our pregnant women for the SP intake. And then Kuku here, we can't get water. The only problem we have for the only assistance that we are having is from our pregnant women when they are coming. We do ask them to give us some water. But we, the staff, to get water to bath, we have to descend to the hill, which is not good. And with our motorbike, a weak motorbike, we have a very stressful with it. So currently, an NGO has been provided with water, but we still need the community to extend where the water, they have kept the water tank to the facility here. That will help leaders to facilitate our movement and our activity, but to carry on our activity very well. That is now available. From M. Alazira.
Well, that's it for City Newsroom on City TV. Our website, citynewsroom.com, has more stories. Subscribe to CityTube on YouTube for more exclusive video content from City TV. Thank you for watching City Newsroom on City TV. My name is Umaru Sanda Amadu. Have a good night.
The point of view.
If cabinet ministers have been accused of sabotaging a major government program, which almost every day was in the news, how come we haven't heard anything until after the interview and then we are told that this should be investigated?
With the complexities of the issues happening around us on a daily basis,
Bernard, we're not in a good place. We're not in a good place because we don't have access to the international capital market.
it's the hard-hitting conversations on the point of view.
MPP and the NDC have had a consensus about economic policy. The fight really has been about who will be in power and who will be sitting at the edge of the trough and helping themselves and their associates.
And the probing questions of the point of view.
How many times have I even showed the world's most expensive hole? Why can't they tell us the exact amount? And why is it that what they told Parliament It's not less than $1 million.
The twisted entanglements of politics and governance.
There's nothing wrong for a politician to address national issues and also respond to critics,
as well as religious and social discourse.
I think that people are entitled to their own opinion on issues. And so when the president said, I want to build a national cathedral, people can have their own opinion on matters. But let us pray that God will bless this economy so that we can have our roads built and the cathedral built.
The Point of View brings you the policymakers and duty bearers and drills down to the very bottom of issues.
As part of your budget for the year is a line item that says what? Electricity.
Yeah.
So what's your reason for not paying?
Economy.
How can the economy be a reason? What about us?
The Point of View airs every Monday and Wednesday at 9 p.m. only on City TV and is sponsored by Belpac. Belpac, just perfect.
If you're a whiz kid that collects straight A's in your sleep, a brainy brains that aces quizzes without even trying, or a clever clogs that knows just about everything, then there's one more battle you have to win. The Literacy Challenge. The nationwide search for the best junior high student is on. Think it could be you going home with 10,000 Ghana cedis and a glitzy trophy? Then, in not less than 600 words, write a story that ends with the following statement. The happiest people do not have the best of everything, they make the best of everything they have. Stories should be written in your own handwriting with the deadline of Saturday, the 15th of July 2023 in mind. Submissions must include an endorsement by a parent or guardian and their full contact details. And once you're done, shoot off your entries to the front desk of City TV or City FM. Or you can send entries to PO Box GP 14123 Accra Central. For more inquiries, call 0558 973 973. The Literacy Challenge 2023 is powered by City TV, supported by City FM, and is sponsored by Ghana National Gas Company.
The main issue has to do with how much we can invest to reclaim the lands. That is the starting point. Most of the rivers have been diverted and they've lost their courses. We need to regenerate these rivers. The investment requirement for that alone will have significant burden